It's been an eventful 2018, but we're bringing everything to a close with one more race, a little preview of what's to come in 2019. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason White. Welcome to the final race of our 2018 Gold Star Series, and this is at Thruxton. It's 1973 Formula 3. And I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez and Jonatan Acerclinth. Hello to both of you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, fellows.
So, the championship for the Gold Star has already been decided, with Austin Johnson winning the championship by finishing second at Ontario. He has 57 points. David Jakes is 36, Peter Hlavik 19, Martin Lucena 18, and Adam Hackman 15. So the points in this race won't really be worth too much, since it's only probably going to be a 45-minute race or so. But in any case, this is going to provide a preview for a series that we're going to do in July, I believe, Alberto?
Yeah, from July on until the end of the year.
So qualifying has been completed, and the pole sitter is going to be Grant Riddall. Tiago Canola is second, with Martin Lucena third, John Team fourth, and Brian Janik from Detroit is fifth. So they're out there now. Well, the time has just expired in qualifying. There's going to be about a 15-minute warm-up session, during which everybody's going to get their cars in order. This is another mod created by David Saber, with physics by Richard Wilkes, I believe. So it's the same standard team that we have here at HSO. And this is 1973 Formula 3. Very much a question of maintaining momentum as you drive. Am I correct?
Yes, this is obviously a feeder series. This is the series where many of the later Grand Prix legends actually started. And in the year 73, we had, for example, Alan Jones driving in this kind of cars. Mm-hmm. And they are obviously they have much more grip than what they have for an engine, because it's a little 1.6 liter engine with, I think they are about 130 horsepower, something like that. And they go over 130 mph, but not a lot more. And it's everything is about drafting and, as you said, keeping the momentum here, because if you lose speed, if you scrap too much with the tires, then it's impossible for the engine to get you back to speed that quick. So we will see, I think, a lot of close racing, but anyone who loses the momentum or scraps the tires too much will drop like a stone immediately of the pack. So that's one of the keys in this feeder series. They try to teach the people to actually drive the car with finesse. Even if they later get to more powerful cars, what you learn here is always the most important.
And as we see the green light go for the warm-up session, the car on your screen, car number 35, Jonatan is going to be driving in the race, and he's going to have a live microphone feed while he drives, apparently. Jonatan, are you sure you want to do that?
Yep.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Okay. Well, Jonatan is going out now. Oh, he's got cold tires for sure. And if we are on board with him, we'll be able to have a look at a full lap of Thruxton. I'll put the picture of Thruxton on the screen for you now while we're waiting for Jonatan to go around completely. Thruxton, I don't know about you guys, but it always reminds me of like a mini Silverstone in a way. Maybe it's just the chicane that seems like the Woodcote chicane. But it's 2.356 miles around. We're going to be racing for 35 laps, or 82.16 miles.
It's a bit of an odd track.
It's weird, yeah.
Hard to drive here because there are many long, smooth corners where it's too easy to lose the references.
All right, so Jonatan Jonathan's now coming to the last corners on the circuit, the chicane. Yves Placé just overtook him, and as he comes out of the turn here, he's going to be starting a full lap. Here's the grid. Start-finish line now. The first turn is this right-hander by the pit exit, sweeping through, and then immediately back to the left, trying to maintain as much momentum as you can here. Now one of the slower portions of the track, downshifting twice, I believe, into a right-hander, back to the left. Then back to the right again, trying to go up through the gears and maintain as much speed as you can.
And here is the very long turn that we had been saying. This and the next one is, as you can see here, there are little references, and it's too easy to end up in the grass.
Yeah,
especially here in this right
This
one.
portion is really difficult because you're turning right here, and if you're not careful, you can end up in the grass on the left as the corner tightens up. But Jonatan does an excellent job of not doing that. And now here's another turn that if you nail this right, you can do it flat out as it dips right at the apex. Jonatan exits. Very nice line, Jonatan, so far.
I think I've got a bit too much wing on though, but...
Well, now you can see this is the fastest part of the course. Coming up here, the markers 200, 100, trying to bring the car down to a slow speed without upsetting it too much.
It's a very difficult braking part because, as you see, it's in a turn. I mean, you can brake in a straight line here, so you have to always keep a balance between steering wheel input and brake and avoid locking the front wheels or spinning out.
So the guys are going to continue warming up for another 11 minutes or so. And as you can tell, and Alberto's pointed out, this is not a power series. This is going to be all about finesse and driving ability for sure. While we have a moment here, let's take a look at some of the highlights of the 2018 HSO season. I've compiled some facts for everybody just to take stock in what we've seen so far and going into 2019. These are the champions that we have this year. Grant Riddall won the F171 championship. Very eventful final race at Watkins Glen that saw an incident between Grant and Richard Cox, and ultimately Grant winning the race and being the champion. Matthias Weber was the winner of the 1985 New Zealand Touring Car Championship. I think it's fair to say that Matthias won that one just purely on the basis of consistent driving. There were other people who won more races than he did, but he was very, very consistent throughout. Yves Placé won the 71 Can-Am Challenge Cup driving a Ferrari. And as we've seen previously in the last race at Ontario, Austin Johnson wrapped up the 2018 HSO Gold Star, making this race more or less just a fun race to finish the calendar year. Another interesting thing that happened in 2018, Yves Placé, he now holds 3 all-time HSO records. He has the most starts with 507, most finishes with 360, and the most laps completed at 17,753. So Yves definitely becoming one of the all-time leaders at HSO in terms of stats. Other things that happened in 2018, the most wins during the year was Austin Johnson with 7. Most podiums, David Jakes with 14. Most poles was shared between Grant Riddall and Austin Johnson with 6 apiece. Most fastest laps, that's not really proper grammar, but in any case, Grant Riddall and Yves Placé shared that with 6 apiece. Most starts during the year was shared by Yves Placé and Ray Riddall, 33 apiece. Most finishes, not really a huge surprise, very consistent driver. David Yunt finished 23 races that he started. And most laps completed, David Yunt, again, with 1,985 laps. Most laps led, Austin Johnson with 482.
That's also because of the 500-mile races.
Yes, the 500-mile race certainly contributed to that stat for Austin Johnson because he led most of those races a long way. So we got about 9 minutes to go here. Let's take a look at who else is running here. Here's Francois Remen driving a Brabham. He's presently following Cezarius Ślepinski and Adam Hackman. We're having a bit of a scrap in front of him. Obviously no tire changes in this race, but it'll be interesting to see how tire wear affects the cars during the race. Do you think that will be a factor at all, Alberto?
It's possible because of these long sweeping corners.
Mm-hmm.
Those who slide the car more, they will probably see that the rear tires are more worn out towards the end of the race, and well, it will be getting hairy by then, I can tell you that. because in these cars, because of the need to keep the momentum, obviously, what you really want is to have as little wing as possible. But then again, if you put little wing, what this means is that the rear starts having a life of its own, especially in the very quick corners. So it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you start getting loose, the tires are getting more worn. Because they are worn, you get even looser, and then you can go towards the end of the race with some real problems there.
All right, well, while we have a little more time, let's talk a bit about what's coming up next year at HSO. Here are the 3 mainline series that we have planned for Sunday. There, of course, will be other series that will take place on Wednesday nights, but this is a look at the races that we will definitely be having on Sunday. To start the first semester, we'll have 2 series. The PPG IndyCar World Series 1988 returns to HSO in AMS form, which will allow us to experience all the fun things that AMS has to offer, such as dirt pickup and flat spots and turbo physics. Really looking forward to that series. Then we have another series that I know Alberto is very much looking forward to, the 1980 BMW Pro Car Championship, which will only, I believe, take the early part of the year, the first semester. It won't be a year-long affair. And then in the second semester, we'll have the cars that you're seeing on track right now in the 1973 JPS Formula 3 Series, starting in July. So that's a look at what's coming up in 2019 for HSO. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, it's basically the IndyCar World Series is the center of the season, because it's going to be all year long.
Oh, no! We just had a big incident on track between Remen and Thiago Canola.
Yeah, fortunately, that's only warm-up.
I know.
And spare pieces are cheap. So as I was saying, IndyCar is going to be certainly the centerpiece of the season. That's going to be the year-long championship, and Pro Car and the Formula 3 are going to be alternating there with the IndyCar, which allows people to concentrate well on the IndyCar, but then also gives the chance to those who prefer to either concentrate on another championship or start losing their chances in the main IndyCar to try to get honors in the others. Those are certainly races that you will need to prepare a lot. This one because it's a feeder series, like we said, a lot of driving fitness involved, and the Pro Car because of the limited settings that are available. But it's going to be, in both cases, very competitive, and I think we're going to see that also here in this race.
Yeah, those of you who are interested in taking part in 2019, keep an eye peeled on the forum for the sections to appear in the championship section. And they will have information as far as when mods will be made available, when you will be allowed to declare your interest, and what rules apply in those series, because they're not the same from series to series. And of course, we're also going to have a Gold Star Championship going on. We haven't decided what we're going to be doing yet. That's something that's kind of evolving during the year. But again, look on the open races thread to see, or section, to see if anything is posted there. But a lot of usual things that we do are going to be present during the year, like the Triple Crown and the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah, they will, because this time they are part of the IndyCar 88 Championship itself.
Yep.
But we will, of course, be doing in the Gold Star Opens many other series. Expect to see sports cars.
Yes.
That would be, that's definitely something that we all like to do.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
some
there's
races.
a certain group of people at HSO who would prefer to drive closed-wheeled cars as opposed to open-wheel. So, and we're well aware of that. And there's plenty of stuff that's going to be sports car related, I'm sure, in the Gold Star. We're also going to have a bit of a shake-up in terms of administrative duties. I've mentioned in previous broadcasts, and it's been said in the forum, I'm going to be taking a much-needed break from administrating, because I have a lot of new responsibilities in my real life that do not really give me the ability to be as involved as I would like to be. So you're going to see more of Juha Boss and Jonatan and other people. Not so much me. I'm going to be driving more than anything. But I think the series is definitely in good hands, and I want to extend a personal thank you to Richard Coxon and Alberto, my broadcast partner, because they have been the guys behind the scenes who have done the bulk of the work to not only bring you the content for 2019, but also to get the brand new server online, which is vastly superior to the setup that we had before. They were instrumental, well, not just instrumental, they were the ones who arranged it. So thanks very much to both of you for doing all the hard work of getting that set up. I know it wasn't easy. I know that it at times was frustrating, but we've got a really good platform set up for 2019 thanks to your hard work. So I think I speak for everybody when I say thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thanks. It certainly was a bit of a nightmare at some points.
Yeah, I could tell.
Two guys who don't know a iota about anything related to web servers, and that it was learn on the way. But in any case, what matters is we got it set up.
Yes.
The race that you all are watching today is already on the new server, and that means it's, 5 times the bandwidth we had before. Also much better computer in terms of processor, RAM memory and all that, which we really hope that puts an end to the problems that had been plaguing us, because with being blessed with these full grids that we have in all the championships, then of course the course comes with the amount of bandwidth that is used, and the computer struggling to cope with it.
And we've in particular having been have had issues with people in South America. For some reason, the distance from where the server is, they just notoriously have higher pings. That's not a knock on them. It's just something that we've had to deal with. But with this new setup, hopefully that'll be a thing of the past.
Yep.
So. All right, so we've got about 45 seconds to go here. We're going to be heading over to the race session in a moment. We haven't seen these cars before, so it's hard to predict what's going to happen. I am going to go out on a limb and say Thiago Canola will win this race based on his racecraft and his uncanny ability of getting more speed out of a car than you'd think it could get. Grant, very quick in these cars. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Grant, at least from what I've seen in the past, is more adept at driving cars with an excessive power. So maybe this is a little outside of his wheelhouse. However, he did qualify in the pole, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But one thing's for certain: I think it's going to be an exciting race.
Well, it'll be Formula Ford style. This.
Yes.
Yes. But it will be hard to get away from the people that are following you, because with the long sweeping turns here, it's a lot about raw power in the car. And when you're not alone, you can take the ideal lines to the corners. So that means that unless you can build a bit of a gap, it won't be easy to get away from the people who are pursuing you.
All right, so we are now moving to the race session. So I will take a look at, let me see if I can find the pole sitter. There we go, Grant Riddall being the pole sitter. And once they start the formation lap, I will take you through the grid. Oh, that's nice. I forgot that the cameras for these are actually set up really nice to run through the grid, as opposed to some of the others we have.
Fortunately, it seems like Brian Yannick has been removed from the server due to
for some reason he got a mismatch now after doing all the qualifying. And
you know, that's something that Brian has been dealing with every now and then. For some reason, his setup throws up mismatches at like the least opportune times. I don't know what that is. I think it's something on his end. Unfortunate, but cars are on the grid now, and here we go on the pace lap. Starting on the pole, Grant Riddall and the P&M Racing Preparations March. Oops, wrong way. Second, Tiago Canola, and he's driving a Martini, number 46. Third, Martin Lacina in the Dart Racing GRD. Fourth, John Team in the Carlson's Clista Racing Team. I believe that's a Brabham. Not entirely certain. Fifth is Yves Placé driving Brian Henton's car. Sixth is Cezarius Ślepinski. I'm sure I'm butchering his name. Driving the Motul Defense Mondial Martini. Seventh is Ray Radal, father of the champion of the F171 series, and he is driving the Team Kent Messenger March.
And pole sitter today.
Yes, he's
We
also the
have
pole
father and
sitter.
son on track.
Yes. Peter Hlavik is going to start 8th in another March, number 29. Steve Parker is starting 9th in the John Sheldon Racing Royale. 10th is Mick Chapman driving the Ryston Racing March. Lots of Japanese on that car. Interesting. David Saber is driving the Wrangler Racing. I'm not sure what chassis it is. It might be a Brabham. He's in 11th. 12th is Jason Whitehead in a Royale. 13th is Adam Hackman in a number 12 March, Team Modus Racing. 14th is Little Al in the only Alpine in the race. Very interesting car. Michael Griffiths is in another March, number 3. Jason Fitch is in the Peter Bloor Racing March. I got to hurry up here. John Cook is 17th. 18th is Bruno Chacon. 19th, Francois Ramin. 20th, Gerard Rian. 21st, Igor Desassis. And 22nd and last, or I'm sorry, there's a couple more. 22nd, Timo Vermeersch. 23rd, David Yunt, who's in the pit lane. And 24th, Jonatan Acerclinth. 25th is Mark Craggs. It looks like we're ready to go. Cars are on the grid. So keep an eye on the clock in the corner. When it starts, the race starts. Tense moments. Looks like there's a gap there. Somebody might be starting from the pit.
Brian Janik. Brian Janik, who got the mismatch.
I see.
He
There
posted
we go.
in the forum he was also surprised by that. But that makes Cesario's life easier because he can...
All right. Looks like we're heading into the start here. Watching for the lights. And the race is underway. Grant Riddall peels away, has an excellent start. But Tiago Canola is right with him there.
Great start by Yves Placé, who just squeezed between John Team and Martin Lacina.
Yes, wow. Harum Scarum is in the back there as we head up to the first of the slow corners. Lacina looking to work on Placé there, but oh goodness, we've already got people going off the track behind this group. An aerial shot here of Lacina. But Grant Riddall leads for sure. Tiago is second. Yves Placé third. Martin Lacina is fourth. Here they come through one of the faster turns. Looks like everybody's managed to start the race without too much trouble. I don't see anybody straggling too much. You can see how much the cars get light on the inside wheel as they come sweeping through. So the question now is, will Grant be able to get away from Tiago Canola as they come through the chicane for the first time? We'll see how everybody handles this. Everybody seems to... Oh, we got one car off the track. That's Jason Fitch, number 34, comes back on. He might... Oh, it looks like there's a barrier loose back there. Jonatan running off the track there. You okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Had to do it to not hit another car who broke away very early, so... Well.
Here comes Grant Riddall now. Tiago second, Yves Placé third, Martin Lacina fourth, John Team fifth. Ślepinski having a good run. Oh, man, Alberto Jr. running way off. Oh, goodness, we got another spinner. Igor, oh, and we have a collision. Bruno Chacon and Igor Desassis having a coming together there, and that looks like it's going to be two people out of the race there. unfortunate because we saw wheels flying. Francois Remen is also out of the race, which is too bad.
Looks like Mark Craggs got involved in that as well. He's very slow on the track.
So we have a battle developing here between Ślepinski and Peter Hlavik as he's looking for a way around him. Can't quite find it right now. But very, very close to him. Probably the closest battle on the track right now as far as the leaders go. And then if we look a little further back, we've got a bit of a scrap going on between Jason Whitehead and Mick Chapman. And your son, Alberto, is sitting watching this group as well.
Yeah, watching now.
Oh, man!
On 3 wheels, trying to limp to the pits for repairs. And it seems like he will be able to do it. As race control, I'm allowing it because the leader is very far away, so there's been no traffic for him. Let's see if his car gets repaired and he's back into the race, because Bruno might not be a quick driver, the quickest here, but he certainly is one of the most consistent one and always gets race finishes. It's
true. He's always the one who finishes in spite of maybe not being the quickest.
There's also Mark Craggs in the pits there.
John Cook, a guy that we don't see a lot of, Canadian driver, is now dicing with Gerard Rion. This looks pretty interesting.
Martin Lassina also with his Placé there. Just overtook him before the chicane.
Oh goodness, very close between Gerard Rion and John Cook.
One or both of them will need some new pants after that.
Yes, very much. Jonathan's got a good view of that from his car. John Cook taking the wide line into the chicane. Looks like he's going to retain the position. 17th at the moment. Yeah, there's quite a few cars in the pit lane.
Right now, Timo Vermeersch and Gerard Rion side by side.
Yeah, they are in the pits. Although it appears that Chacon has got a missing wheel, so I don't know if he's going to be able to continue. Given that situation, it depends on what the.
Gerard Rion just went out in the chicane.
Oh goodness!
Trying to avoid Timo Vermeersch, who got the inside, and now Jonatan is right behind Timo.
Let's have a look at the replay here. Goodness!
Me and Timo had a bit of contact early on. I don't know who moved where, but I believe that may have put Gerard a bit off there.
Yeah, there's Gerard having his off now, but he managed to get on that piece of tarmac that's there, so I mean that helps him to recover. Didn't go for too wild of a ride. Here's Jonatan having a look at Timo Vermeersch up the inside. They're side by side. This is a battle for 19th place. Very nice. Jonatan has the inside groove there going into the chicane. Oh, goodness. Vermeersch spins in the chicane. Unfortunate for him, but it cements Jonathan's place. Timo gets the car moving again. Mark Craggs leaving the pits now, although he does have a drive-through penalty as well. Maybe he violated the pit speed limit. I'm not sure. It depends upon what the... Chacon and De Azes are both out of the race, so is Remen. Grant Riddall continues to lead. Thiago Canola is in second. 5 laps have been completed already. This race is going pretty quickly. Martin Lassina is a very comfortable third, with Yves Placé in fourth, but he's being pursued still by John Team. We have a very close battle between Ślepinski and Peter Hlavik, as they're both coming through the chicane here. Very close, and Peter Hlavik has just spun out.
Well, he lost the rear when trying to brake.
Yep. That's obviously the most difficult place on the course. Now he's slotted in between Alberto Jr. and Adam Hackman. See if he's able to recover any places there. But meanwhile, Ślepinski is now closing in on Ray Radal. We'll see if he can do anything with him, as we're now on lap, we've completed 6 laps. And your point about the cars sliding is well taken, Alberto. The less that you slide around here, the more tire thickness you're going to have at the end. Ooh, Ślepinski going right out to the edge of the road, using every inch that he can.
Not to mention that, as you see, there's already not just a racing line building up, but also marbles on the outside.
Yes.
And if you are sliding too much and you go into those marbles, then those things are like driving on ice. So Peter Labak now wants to get his position back from Adam Hackman. He's on the slipstream, trying to make a move, but coming now to the insides, that's a very difficult thing to do here. A very heartbreaking. And Peter executed it perfectly.
Yeah, he got it. He did it well this time. He didn't spin.
Yeah,
this
coming from the inside also, because he had an even bigger angle there to be able to make it to the chicane.
So Hackman is going to have to try to find a way back around Peter. Peter going onto the grass there for a second. So I don't know. We'll see if he can pounce at some point here. Some people had a chance to practice for quite a while in these cars during the 2 weeks that the server was up. Other people have not had much time, so that's probably factoring into the racing that we're seeing so far. David Saber is now starting to close in on Ślepinski. David Saber, of course, one of the principal authors of this mod. Another fantastic effort on his part. We've said before how David is able to do an amazing amount with very little. And that's the challenge of doing a mod for a sim racing platform, is that you want it to look detailed, but you don't want it to unnecessarily eat up RAM with more polygons than are necessary. It's almost like you're building the Spirit of St. Louis. It has to do its job, but it doesn't want to have excess weight. And David is one of the best at that, I think, is the general consensus.
Yeah. His optimization of the models and his use of the polygons are, well, amazing. I mean, for many people who are watching this and have some modeling knowledge, you all would be amazed to know how little polygons these cars actually have.
Yeah, it's shocking how little there are. And here he is sizing up Ślepinski now. Looks like he has a bit of a roll on him now. He does. As he goes up through the gears here, he might have a chance to overtake him here. Looks on the inside.
What happens with these cars? I mean, just a little error, not doing the turn perfectly for Ślepinski, means that David Saber has a run on him. No, and here David going off the line to the marbles, and there goes Ślepinski.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how one small error just magnifies itself in these cars. It's not so much the case in cars with more power, but in this case, when momentum is everything, yeah, a small error can just multiply on the track, causing huge issues. Now, it appears that we have Chapman closing in this group too, so that small error caused him to...
Peter Lava catching up with Jason White, it's just behind him. Whoop! Jason White just made an error on the chicane, and there goes his position.
Yep, there goes Hlavik by, so Jason White is going to have to catch up. Now Hackman's in a position to gain a position back here. But here's David Saber right with Ślepinski now. Ooh, he locks up the brakes going into these slow right and left-handers. You don't want to lock up the wheels if you can help it, because, again, that's a loss of momentum.
Not to mention that you can get a flat spot and then be suffering the vibrations. And
that's true. Don't forget, this is not our factor. We have the... Oh, goodness. Jonatan, you all right?
Yeah, I just had a very, very sideways moment into the last chicane. If you catch that on a replay, you'll have a fright yourself. Good God. Sorry about that.
Well, here's the replay. Vermeersch was with you. Let's see what happens here. You're going into the chicane, I suppose. And oh my goodness, yes. How did you avoid not spinning out there?
No idea.
Well, you'll have to change your trousers after that, I suppose.
Already changed.
That's dirt tracking Truxton.
Yes, dirt tracking. He's using his experiences from driving the Kenyan Coyote there. Hackman is now starting to close on Peter Hlavik, so he might have a chance here to overtake. Getting very close, actually. Oh, there's a yellow flag up here. Apparently somebody off. Don't see anything. Well, whoever it was way off the track. Didn't even see them there.
And Grant Riddle has built up an incredible lead on Thiago Canola already.
Yeah, most of the action is in the back of the pack. It's not even in the front. Yeah, the battle between Hackman and Hlavik has broken off a bit. Looks like things have settled down to some extent. Martin Lucena is now coming up on, I believe that's not a pass for position. That is he's lapped.
Oh, Jonatan.
Oh, no!
He just spun. Pity, because he was already trying to get in a battle with Gerard Rion.
Here's the replay. I hope we're not distracting you, Jonathan.
Nah, it's me. I've probably about 10 laps of practice on this track with these cars, so still learning the limits.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Apparently you can't beach the car on the curb and get away with it.
No, and you also, because this is AMS, you also have the problem of you can't clip the corners too much without the server barking at you. That's especially a problem in the chicane, the very last corner. So yeah, 11 laps complete now. Grant has checked out. So we've got about a third of the race complete. Thiago Canola is second, and he's about 6 seconds back in his Martini, which has got an interesting nose on it. Got a snout. So much for my prediction of Thiago being able to take it to Grant, but we'll see how the race progresses. Third is Lucena. Fourth is Placé. He's now trying to lap Mark Craggs. Mark gets out of the way, lets him by. John Team is trying to close on Yves Placé. He's in fifth, and that is the last points paying position for Gold Star. Not that it really matters at this point. You almost have to just glide your way through these corners, Alberto, right? It's just, it's not even like the car is biting into the corner. You're just kind of floating through there.
Yeah, it's probably not the ideal track for this race either. Mm-hmm. I mean, we chose this one because it's not going to be the championship next year, but it's actually a track that was raced in Formula 3. But there's other tracks that will provide more close racing and will be in that regard more entertaining.
I'm afraid your son has a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, he probably he cut the chicane or something like that because, as you said, Automobilista is very strict on this.
Here comes Peter Hlavik. He's sizing up Jason Whitehead going into the really fast right-hander. This is the fastest part of the course. Looks like he's trying to set him up here for the chicane. This is a battle for 9th place. He's already got a roll on him. Down the inside as they come up to the chicane. Looks like he's going to be able to get it done as long as he doesn't... Looks like he had a little bit of a slide going on, but he pulls it off. Peter Hlavik up to 9th place. Jason Whitehead down to 10th. And Hackman is lurking back there in 11th place. See if he can capitalize on any mistakes that happen. Saber is running 12th. Griffiths is running 13th. Your son Alberto Jr. is running 14th. Yunt 15th. I'm surprised. I guess this is a situation of he just hasn't had enough time in these cars.
Oh, dear me! Oh, shh!
Oh, no! Oh, no!
Lead a contact.
Gerard Rion upside down. My goodness.
And that was Grant involved in that.
Oh, it was the leader of the race, Grant Riddle, involved. My goodness, here's the replay. Grant trying to overtake Gerard, lapping him. And they touched wheels, and Grant goes off the track as well. Jonatan impacts Gerard. Oh.
And I avoided him.
Oh, goodness. It's really rotten luck.
Yeah, it's that fast sweeping corner. What Grant actually wanted to get closer to the apex, and Gerard actually had nowhere to go because he was already quite on the right. So it's a bit of miscalculation maybe by Grant.
I believe the engine has gone on Gerard's car, so that's the end of the race for him. But of course, this now means that the leader of the race is Thiago Canola.
So your prediction seems to be
yeah, not the way I expected it to happen, but Grant is in second place, and he is right now. It has literally inverted the situation that we had before. Grant is now 6 seconds back from Thiago, and before it was Thiago 6 seconds behind Grant. So we'll see now if I'm guessing that Grant might be running with a little bit of damage. But we'll see if he's able to reel in Thiago. Meanwhile, Martin Lucena is now, he's got Grant in his sights. Oh, goodness. Eves is looking like he has John Team right on his back bumper now. Well, not a bumper. There was no bumper on these cars. But Team is definitely looking for, and there we have Grant Riddall has just posted the fastest lap of the race, so there's a partial answer to how his car is doing. Apparently not damaged enough to keep him from doing fast laps. Let's see if John Team is able to move up to fourth place here. He's shadowing Yves Placé pretty well.
Thiago Canola just lapped Jason Fitch. And now that they come to traffic, this can also, of course, play a role. Well,
yes, definitely.
It already played in the case of Grant Riddle, as we have seen.
Team has got an excellent run here on Eves. Not much in the way of slipstreaming here, I wouldn't think. It's more of a question of...
Drivers have been complaining a bit about that. They said that the slipstreaming effect was maybe a bit too weak. It actually, Ricardo explained, is exactly the same as it is in the Formula 1 cars. It's just that you're going so much slower. And as you know, drag increases with the square of the speed. So in this case, the benefit of the tow is not as big as you would expect.
All right, so Eves had a much better third sector there than John did, so he's going to be staying where he is for the time being. 20 laps to go now, or actually 19 for the leaders. Grant can just barely see. Well, he's looking at Vermeer. She's not looking at the leader, but the gap is coming down slowly. It's at 5.4 seconds right now.
It is, yes. In the last laps, Thiago Canola, well, he has been able to venture into the 118s. He's doing 119s. And the last lap was 119.5, probably due to traffic. Whereas in the case of Grant Riddle, he did 118 and then a low 119. So there, yes, it's not a huge difference, but inch by inch he's getting closer to Thiago Canola. Question is how close he can get before end of the race, and also how will he be able to make a pass, because that's not exactly easy in these evenly matched cars.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of time to do it in, as he puts a lap on Timo Vermeers.
Yeah, but both are now going through traffic, and that will hurt a lot.
Another drive-through penalty for little Al.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but
I think your supposition was correct. He's probably having shortcutting as well is what's probably happening.
Yeah, the most likely place is in the last chicane. It's very difficult to get it right through that.
So Eves and Team are really shaking it up here. Or it's Fitch, I'm sorry. That's Fitch. It's another blue car that Eves is now putting a lap on.
Yeah, he's lapping it.
The team is a little bit further back. Ray Radal is a very solid 6th. Schlepinski is 7th. Hlavik is 8th, and Chapman is 9th, looking to be closing on him. And rounding out the top 10 is Jason Whitehead. 11th is Hackman. 12th is David Saber. 13th is Michael Griffiths. 14th, David Yunt. 15th, John Cook. 16th, Vermeersch. And 17th, Jonatan. Alberto Aquino is running 18th. And Fitch is just out of the race now. I'm not sure what happened there. Here's a replay. Might have had a spin of some kind. So they're going down the fastest part of the track. He's trying to use the faster car of, or the leading car of Place. Oh yeah, he just had a moment in the chicane. Went off the track, and I guess he figured, oh, screw this. He's done for the day.
Ola Sina just had a spin.
Uh-oh.
Happened just in front of me, didn't quite see what happened.
All right, let's have a look at the replay. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, he got close to the edge of the track there, but he seems to be okay. Let's see what happens here. He just loses traction, maybe. Oh, he got in the grass. That's what happened. And did a complete 360. Didn't lose a lot of time. Gets back on the track. Another fastest lap for Grant Radal, 1 minute 18.462. So he's definitely not interested in finishing second. He wants to get back close to Thiago and see if he can make it happen. Get back in the lead. There's the visual gap for you. Thiago coming through. And then there's Grant. So we're looking at about a 5-second gap.
Yeah, it's decreasing, but always very slowly. 3.7 now. But it depends also on the part of the track they are at.
So he can just now barely see Thiago ahead of him. Here we have a chance to see Grant's racecraft as he goes through the chicane. Very clean, very nice. Grant was obviously trying to just lap someone and not have an issue, and it just didn't pan out the way it looked.
Things are getting now interesting with Martin Lasina coming up close to Ray Ridal and John Tim. They are quite close to each other. And those are 4th, 5th, and 6th position in the race now.
It's funny how that incident with Grant was eerily similar to the incident that he had with Richard Coxon at in the F-171 finale. It was a case of wheels getting locked up. Okay, it looks like Martin's got a chance here. Ray had a very slow exit from the right, left, right.
And that's about the worst place to have a bad exit.
Yeah, you can lose a lot
of time. He skillfully blocked the trajectory so that Martin Lasina couldn't gain an advantage there. And had to also lose momentum.
Well, we'll see how he does in this fast corner coming up here. One gets the impression that if you were driving these cars for real, you'd be tempted to put your head down a little lower and grit your teeth to make the car go faster.
Yeah, maybe take one hand out of the cockpit and try to push.
Yet another fastest lap. It looks like we have somebody off the track here coming up here.
Here comes
Lasina going down the inside. The car is very... Oh, no! Oh, no! Ray goes off the track, hits the barrier, and he's out of the race.
Just a slight touch, was it just enough to unbalance Ray Ridal's car there in the very delicate braking moment. It's a racing incident, but it's so unfortunate.
Here's the replay. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. A little bit of a touch there, it looked like, yeah, and it sent him off the track. It really was really minuscule. Let's see if Grant is closing. Grant is definitely closing. The gap is now 2.5 seconds, and he has plenty of time to catch him. This is only lap 21. Alberto Aquino has been disqualified. Oh.
Yeah, he just went by here and told me that he had been going off track and getting the warnings and then the disqualification for violating the track limits. So, yeah.
Well, that's probably going to be a challenge that others are going to find next July when we do these cars. And it's going to require everybody to up their game as drivers, not just in this series, but in other series, because you can't violate.
Everything is an automobilista, so.
Yeah, you can't violate track limits. The game is very strict, and it's going to make everybody's. It's going to require everybody to up their game, but at the same time, I think it's going to translate into better racing.
It should. Once people adapt to that.
If you force everyone's racecraft to improve. Another nice thing, if you look at you can very visibly see that the groove is a lot darker now than it was when we started. And that's another nice thing about AMS, is that there is an active groove on the track that changes grip as the race progresses.
John Tim locking wheels there, going to the chicane. He's willing to run away from Martin Lacena.
Well,
he just puts Jonatan in between them.
Grant's just gained another nearly a second on Thiago. Thiago going through the chicane now, so's Grant. This is going to be a very exciting finish, I think. 1.5 seconds the gap now.
He's certainly going to catch him, but
yeah, he gained a whole second on that previous lap. Practically, it's 1.6 now.
Been some kind of error.
Had to have, yeah, it had to have been a combination of his driving quickly and Thiago making a mistake. But Grant definitely has the red mist now. You can just see it the way he's driving. He's throwing that car left and right, putting it on the very brink of adhesion. And it's like that old quote from Sam Posey during the 1982 500 when John Cock was closing on, or I'm sorry, Mears was closing on John Cock. He says, "I know I've been in this situation, and I know it's like you can reach out and feel that guy ahead of you." and it's such a fantastic carrot to have that red car out in front of him, and he's like just that close. And Grant, of course, has had a lot to be happy about in this HSO series. Or season. He won the championship, as we mentioned, in F171. It'd be nice for him to, I'm sure he's thinking about going out with a bang, winning this race. Pole sitter in this race, but had that unfortunate incident while lapping. So we'll see if he can get back on top here. But Thiago, as I expected, driving a very good race from the point of view of craft. Gap is 1.9 seconds, so it's leveling off a little bit.
Much closer than that are Martin Lacena and John Tim now.
All right. Yes. Lacena definitely looking at John Tim. Here's the aerial shot to show you the approximate distance between the two. Now the onboard.
John Tim locking a lot the wheels. Probably has already some flat spots, and
well, that's gonna.
You know, when you get them, you immediately get more locking, and it's something that it's a constant loop where you get into, and it's certainly not comfortable.
Well, it's going to play into the hands of Martin Lacena if he's taking better care of his tires. Lacena, who won last week's California 500, driving a Eagle 72 of all cars. Not one of the top line cars necessarily, but not one of the bad ones either. But I think most of us were expecting that it would be an Eagle 74 or a McLaren, but didn't turn out to be the case.
One interesting thing about Martin Lacena, because he drives beautifully at ovals. He has been doing amazing.
As he looks on the outside, he's out of the gray. very dangerous, but he's able to keep the car under control. That could have ended really badly. You were saying,
And
Alberto.
his survivability, I mean, he's so smooth at ovals, he can drive very quick there. And that's obviously something that should also be helpful with these cars, because it's a bit about momentum, as I said, ovals. But the funny thing about Martin Lassina is that the two biggest strengths that he seems to have as driver is both driving at ovals, where you nearly never brake at all, and braking in the road racing, because we've mentioned that many times. He's the latest braker in the league, probably the guy who throws the anchor latest.
And now he's having to deal with Peter Hlavik behind him here. Let's take a quick look back at the lead of the race. And now Grant is right with Thiago as they come into the chicane. So we're going to have a fight for the lead on our hands here very shortly. As they enter turn 1, both of them using a generous amount of curbing there.
And these 9 laps that are remaining are going to be really long for Thiago.
Yes, Thiago is going to have to be very defensive. Grant looks like he's content to sit there and look for weakness. See, I mean, basically he's going to be studying to see where his best opportunity is.
From what I've seen in previous laps, Grant seemed to have a bit of a more top speed than Thiago. Thiago got up to 219, 220 kilometers per hour before braking, whereas in the case of Grant, he went up to 222, 223, something like that.
All right, he's got
So
the roll on
with that and the
Thiago
draft,
now.
There, with that and the draft, it could give him the opportunity.
All right, as they're coming through the corner, he's definitely got a roll in him now. Looking on the inside here, he's got the preferred line going into the chicane. This could be a pass for the lead.
Yeah, you see the little extra top speed,
Oh!
not enough, but
Downshifting, Grant goes into the lead, keeps the car under control. Oh,
Barely.
but look, here comes Thiago back on the inside, takes the lead back. Great racing.
and Grant will have to try again.
Yes, he will.
Well, and in this case for Martin Lassina, he went from pursuer to chased, because Peter Lavak now is making his life quite difficult. Side by side already. Now Peter tries the inside, Martin blocks it, going through the chicane, both behind John Tim.
Looks like Grant has backed off of Thiago just a little bit here. He's going to get his wits about him.
Yeah, they are again in the fast section. But this time he is a bit more distant.
Well, he might be able to build up momentum here. On the last lap, he actually had to lift a couple of times because he was so close to Thiago. So this might actually be to his benefit. He's got more of a long build-up in the slipstream. Yeah, now he's got an excellent roll on him. He's going on the outside now, trying the other way.
Yep.
Trying to sweep around. Is this going to work? Oh, no, it did not. Interesting.
No, because it's the clean side that Thiago had.
That's true.
In this case, Grant, that's something that didn't happen in our factor. It's a realist treat that you get here in Automobilista, because the outside the line, it's actually dirty. You can see the marbles there.
Meanwhile,
if you look from the aerial view.
Meanwhile, Peter Hlavik is sizing up Team and Lassina. These three are going to come into the chicane almost together. Oh my goodness, three wide going into the chicane. Contact with Hlavik. He goes off the track through the chicane. He's got, oh no, he ran into the barrier with the telephone numbers on it. He's out of the race. Oh, he's lost a wheel. It's going to be it for him. That's too bad.
Yeah, he was so close to the pits that trying it was always worth it, but no, it's not going to work. I don't think that he's going to get that wheel repaired.
No, likely not.
So now Martin also managed to consolidate that pass on John Tim, and he's now in front.
It looks like...
Whereas Grant Riddle has not been able to get close enough to Thiago on this lap either. So he must be starting to think where else can he try to make the move, because even if he can position his car properly, the thing is that he's running into the dirty side of the track. So that's That's what we were saying some laps ago, that one thing is arriving there and a very different one is passing.
Riding on board now with Thiago Canola, and you can look back and see Grant for yourself as he tries to close in again, make another attempt.
I would suggest is the Scandinavian flick that Rydell used in Super Touring, forcing the driver to go defensive into the opening slow right-hander, and that driver defending and therefore getting the run off onto the back straight.
I was watching one of those races, and I'm like, yeah, here's a good drinking game, is when every time Jonatan says, here comes X driver for the cutback. Hear
Quite
that?
so.
Hear that? Do a shot. Okay, Grant is placed again right behind Thiago. He's in his slipstream. They're coming up to the chicane. We'll see if he's got it. He tried it on the outside before. He's going to try it again. Pulls alongside. He is just briefly in the lead, but now he's going back to the inside, trying to get a good... looks like he got good momentum coming off of there, but...
Yeah, I told you his top speed is certainly good, but the problem is that he ends up in the dirty part of the track, and Thiago knows that very well. So he will need to find a different place. Oh, there's a yellow flag. And
yellow flag just ahead of him.
Has spun there in front.
David Saber has
David
lost
Saber,
his
yeah.
rear wing,
Whoa.
but he is off the track, so didn't present any danger to anyone. He's actually just now rejoined, but
but that picking that wing was enough for Thiago to lose a bit of momentum.
Yeah, he did
and
lose a
look
little
what
bit of
happened
time.
Here. And this time Grant is close enough.
He's a
See,
lot
he's
closer than
getting
he's
more
been
angle.
before.
He got more angle. He wants the whole of the turn to make the most of the speed available. But Thiago is really quick in a straight line there.
Mm-hmm. Come on,
Here
Thiago.
comes
You
Grant.
got it.
Here comes Grant. He has a good run.
He does an
What?
excellent run, and he didn't have to lift there. This is where he was tripped up before. Now he's alongside him, but of course he's lost the slipstream. He's going to try to
but
just
this
do
time
it.
he's in the clean side, and he's
Yes,
forcing
he is.
Thiago
That's true.
to the dirty one.
Here he
There.
comes. Oh, very close. Goes up the inside. Will he make it stick this time? And he does. Grant Radal back into the lead. 4 laps to go.
And that was very clever also from Thiago, because he knew that the same gate that he had played on Grant was going to backfire on him now. He was on the dirty side and he considered immediately that was the correct thing to do.
But this race
because
is
had
by
he
no
tried
means
to-
over. Grant locks up, and Thiago's right with him. Has a much better entry to the left-hander, now to the right. So don't turn off your TV set. Thiago's definitely going to try to get that lead back. They got 1 lapped car ahead of them. I doubt that'll make a huge difference. Another
And at this
yellow
point,
flag.
I think that we have some tire wear playing, in the case of Grant at least, who has been having to force his way up again to catch up with Thiago. In this section, in this very quick section, Thiago gets closer. And it's not because of the draft, but I think because Grant is sliding more on the quick turns.
Yeah, I think
because
that's
tire
true.
wear. And that, as we know, makes him lose momentum.
Definitely closes here in the chicane. Exiting the chicane. Now there are 3 laps to go.
Look at Grant's car; it's moving a lot more than in the case of Thiago's car.
But that was you're totally right about him being on the clean side of the track. That was a beautifully crafted pass. Just as pretty a pass as you'll ever see.
It's it's a kind of pass that the real great drivers do. A pass that is set up 2 or 3 corners before, like a chess move, if you see what I mean.
It is like a chess move. Now he's right with Grant again. We'll see if the next 2 corners are smooth enough to close in a bit.
And that lapped car could play a role here.
Unwittingly, and it's
Yes.
David Yunt. So
Yeah, but it's just a little bit of a correction of the trajectory, and losing a bit of momentum can be enough here. So let's see what happens when they come up to David, who is probably running some kind of very high wing, because otherwise he's a very quick driver and wouldn't be caught up with so easy.
yeah, David having a rare off day by his standards. Coming into the chicane now, there'll be 2 laps to go. Grant locks up.
Bad entry into that chicane.
2 laps to go now. Or as
When the fastest lap for Thiago.
Going down to the wire.
Yeah, Thiago definitely. Yunt gets out of the way. Very sporting of him. Yeah, Thiago definitely has a fire lit underneath him. He is not going to take this lying down. He wants that win.
Yeah, certainly Grant has more problems with the tires. I can tell you that he's sliding, he's blocking wheels.
Yep, Thiago's got the bit between his teeth.
The only thing that is saving him is that he's skillfully using the moments when he's losing that speed, losing momentum to do it in the places where Thiago is right behind him, so that Thiago has to lift and also lose momentum himself. Grant is being very clever at that.
The rest of the drivers are pretty much spread out back here. There's not a lot of competition going on. The real intrigue is in the leading group as they come up now towards the chicane. Grant sweeps in from a wide angle. Thiago actually hit the.
That's probably that way of forcing the car into the corner with that wide angle is probably a compensation.
Oh, there goes Thiago down the inside. And is he gonna? He's on the wrong line to get through the corner. Grant edges back ahead. Thiago now. Oh my goodness. Oh, and he just gets pinched off in the corner there by Grant. Grant goes back in front again. This is the final lap. Show and tell time.
Grant is constantly compensating the wear in his tires. Look how his car is oversteering, and it would surprise me much if Thiago isn't able to pass him now, because in the quick he's very close now, and in the quick corners Grant is sliding and therefore losing lots of momentum.
It's been a fantastic year for HSO competition, and we're ending it on a really high note.
Every year there.
Yeah, very much. Thiago, he's got one more shot. Probably will happen in the chicane. This is the final lap. Just the chicane to go. This left-hand fade. I don't know. I think it's gonna be marginal. Now it's well. Let's see. No, through the chicane they go, coming off the corner. Power goes down, and Grant Radal is going to win. Or is there still one more lap to go? There is one more lap to go. Okay.
Oh yes, sorry.
I got fooled by the lap count is different in our factor. As Grant locks up the front of the car, he's definitely struggling with that car.
And maybe this last lap is exactly what Thiago needed.
Maybe it is. Exiting the corner now, Thiago is, he's definitely been kinder to his tires during the race than Grant has. You're spot on in your analysis, Alberto, as far as like watching Grant's car slide around. Well, this has been an exciting final race of the year, regardless of what happens here. It's too bad that Thiago and Grant are not on TeamSpeak because we can't hear about how this went. We'll have to go to the forum.
Look at this. Just as they went through the apex, Thiago was immediately much closer, and that's because his tires held up much better.
Here he comes. This is it. They downshift into the chicane. Oh, goodness. No. Okay. Looks like Grant's going to be safe. Here he comes to the line, and the race is over. Grant Radal wins the Alcoa Trophy.
Meantime, the fight is on for 12th.
Yves Placé will finish third. Martin Lucena looks like he's going to finish fourth.
Yeah, 5 laps more, and Yves would have had some job between his hands, I can tell you, because Martin was closing quickly.
Yes, he was.
John Team will be next.
John Team's next, and then Cezarius Schlepinski with a 6th place effort. Very nice. Driving a Martini. Mick Chapman is going to finish in 7th. We didn't see a lot of him in this race, but that's a nice result. Jason Whited 8th. Adam Hackman's going to finish 9th, it appears. And David Yunt, even though he had what would be by his standards an off day, is going to finish in 10th. Griffiths is in 11th. John Cook, 12th. Maybe we'll see more of him in coming races at HSO. 13th for our friend Jonatan. 14th for David Saber, who I am not sure. Oh, he is the last car that was running. He just went to the garage quicker than other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the Alcoa Trophy and the last HSO race of the season. Quite a cracker of a race, to quote Jonatan.
Not from my point of view where I was on track, but sounded like it anyway.
Yeah, the replay should be a lot of fun to watch. All right, well, so while we're waiting for people to go into the green room, I would like to remind everybody of what we have coming up at HSO in 2019. The 1988 IndyCar Series comes to AMS for the first time. That'll be a year-long series. And then we'll have the 1980 Pro Car Series, which will be just a first semester series. That's something that I know Alberto's really looking forward to. And then the cars you just saw, the 1973 Formula 3 Series, that will be a second semester series starting in July. So, looking back on 2018, what are some of the things you'll be remembering, gentlemen? Anyone?
Sorry?
And what are you guys going to be remembering from 2018? What made the biggest impression?
Well, probably Austin Johnson dominating the Indianapolis and then the Pocono 500.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly speaking volumes about what we can expect next year when he is driving at least in ovals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the 88 kart series, because I know that in some instances in that series you start with a March and then end up with a Lola in some teams. So it'll depend on what team he ends up with, but that's of course yet to be determined. Everybody make sure to keep an eye on the forum to see when these cars will become available. And, Jonathan's saying thanks for the great race, and he's very happy his computer didn't crash. That's always a good thing. It appears that nobody is heading into the green room, so we can probably close out this broadcast with time for people to get to bed at a decent hour. Any final thoughts from you, Jonatan, or Alberto?
It was fun to watch, but I think other tracks will give us much more closer racing.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult to drive very close to someone else around this track. I'd also like some brake lights on the cars, but that's my personal view.
Well, the pro cars will furnish those, so
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, I want to thank Alberto and Jonatan for joining me and for all the work that you guys have done both behind the scenes and in the broadcast booth. You've made 2018 a very memorable year, not only for me, but everybody who watches and everyone who competes. So as I said, we've got a lot of things coming in 2019, and we encourage all of you to pay very close attention to the forum. We'd like to wish everybody out there a very happy holiday, and of course a very prosperous new year for Alberto Ibañez and Jonatan Acerclinth. This is Jason White saying so long from Thruxton. We'll see you in 2019.